Ever since I was a little kid, I've always suffered from night terrors. I don't remember when they started, but my parents told me that I would always wake up screaming, covered in sweat, banging on their door in the middle of the night, claiming that someone was trying to get me. It got so bad that my parents eventually took me to go see a doctor, who said that I would eventually grow out of it. But that never happened. As I got older, the night terrors became more severe. We're not talking about monsters hiding in the closet. I saw some very traumatizing things in my dreams. My entire family being murdered by an axe-wielding psychopath. My dog being devoured by a strange man with horns. Very fucked up stuff for a kid to deal with. I refused to go to bed for a long period of time, and my parents were worried sick about me. So they took me to go see a psychiatrist, who prescribed me some pills to take before bed, and she also encouraged me to write my nightmares down in a journal. By this time I was around 12 years old, and after taking the medication for some time, the nightmares eventually stopped. I was finally able to get a good night's rest. That was until the summer of 2015. I had just turned 17, and it started out like any other night for me. I got home around 11 at night, and I put on a movie to fall asleep to. I was so tired that I can't remember exactly when I fell asleep. Suddenly, I sat up, frightened, and I frantically looked around my room. My eyes locked on the TV, which was still on. There was a slideshow of pictures of me, switching out one by one. The images depicted me with blood coming from my eyes. Another showed my mother holding my decapitated head and smiling. It was a truly sickening feeling. I then heard a bang from the hallway. My bedroom door then burst open, and all went silent. Someone then emerged from the doorway, holding a large knife. Then the unthinkable happened. Imagine watching a silhouette coming toward you, holding a large knife, and you can't move a muscle. My body froze in place as the figure closed in. I struggled and struggled, but it was no use. I could feel my own eyes widen as the knife was lifted up into the air. As soon as the knife came down, I woke up. I sat up in bed, trembling in fear, and began having a panic attack. Needless to say, I didn't sleep for the rest of that night. I still can't explain how this happened after so many years. I haven't had a nightmare like that since. But given my painful history with night terrors, I can't say with certainty that it won't happen again. Dreams are just dreams, right? Well, I'm not so sure that's entirely true. I think they can be bad omens or a manifestation of an inner struggle. I've even read somewhere that if you keep having strange nightmares, you should get your head x-rayed for tumors. Anyway, my dream started out with me hiking on a desert terrain, with mounds of sand and stone lining the path. I approached a security gate and passed through it, going up a hill on a small gravel road. I was the only one on the trail for a few minutes, when I eventually encountered another hiker. We were about to greet each other when we both heard a rustling in some bushes just off the path. Something sprung out and dashed onto the trail, coming between the other hiker and me. It appeared to be a malnourished homeless man, wearing a torn hoodie and dirty jeans. I assumed it was a human, until I saw its face. Its skin had a gray tone, and it had a teardrop-shaped head with a small mouth and black beady eyes. The creature then pulled a small pill bottle with red labels on it from one of its coat pockets and flicked it open, tossing a small red pill at the other hiker's feet. Since this dream was so surreal, I maintained the same cognizance as I would if I was actually awake. Therefore, I reacted like I would if I saw this in real life. I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo. The second I did, it felt like I had just broken one of the universe's unspoken laws. My vision spaghettified, as if reality itself was collapsing. Everything around me was stretched out and distorted. I remembered feeling like I was free-falling and closing my eyes as I blindly tried to flee the area. I didn't understand what was going on. A normal hike had turned into an interdimensional cataclysm. It made me feel like an ant being flushed down the toilet. I felt the ground beneath me give way, and I began to plummet. I tried opening my eyes, but every time I did, I was met with a burning sensation. When I was finally able to open them, all I saw was my bedroom ceiling. I'm a senior in high school, and this has been by far the worst experience in grade school for me. Beginning at the start of the school year, my stress levels have gone through the roof, which has not helped my anxiety and depression. Things have been especially difficult these past couple of weeks, because that's when the nightmares began. Every time I fell asleep, I would have these terrifying dreams. I felt like I was living on Elm Street, because I started to fear going to sleep. In addition to these night terrors, I would also experience vivid hallucinations. I would hear the occasional knock on my window, or people having a conversation outside of my bedroom door. What was happening did frighten me, but I figured that all of this was just a symptom of the stress I was dealing with. Nothing was really making me question my own sanity, until now. It was Valentine's Day, and I had spent the morning throwing up. I guess I ate something bad the night before, so I decided to stay home from school that day, which was fine by me. The day consisted of me laying in bed, watching television. My mom was home, but she was in her room teaching an online course. I was contemplating on whether or not I should take a nap when I heard a loud and clear sound of someone screaming. I sat up in a panic. My heart began to pound out of my chest, and my body temperature skyrocketed. I looked around my room. I didn't expect to see anything, but in a situation like that, you do it anyways. Was I going crazy? I looked out my window to see if there was anyone there. Nothing. My heart was still pounding a mile a minute, and I felt like I was going to throw up again. To make matters worse, that would not be the only inexplicable thing that happened to me that day. Later on, I got up to use the bathroom, and I heard a woman humming. At this time, I was home alone, so it couldn't have been my mom or my little sister. I also heard knocking on the walls and voices having a conversation in the hallway outside. I got back into bed and covered both of my ears with my pillow to drown out the sounds. I felt like I was slowly losing my mind. Later that night, I woke up, looking directly at my closet door. Other than a small sliver of moonlight seeping through the window, the room was completely dark. I heard a shuffling coming from my closet, followed by heavy breathing. I grabbed my phone and flipped on the flashlight, aiming it at my opened closet door. There was nothing there. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I had been dealing with these phantom disturbances all day. Can't my mind just give me a rest and allow me to get some sleep? Was that really too much to ask? I wanted to leave the room, but I was too terrified to get up. I laid back down, and I threw the covers over my head. Suddenly, I couldn't move my arms. I tried to sit up, but I couldn't. My body wouldn't move an inch. I've heard about sleep paralysis before, but I have never experienced it until now. Great. I guess I'll add that to my list of problems too. As I laid there, desperately trying to move my body, the heavy breathing returned. My heart froze, and I saw a figure emerge from my closet. It then slowly began to shamble toward me, the breathing getting louder as it moved closer. Again, I tried to move, but my body was frozen in place. The blanket then moved off of me, and I could see the thing approaching my bed clearly. It was a disheveled woman, with her mouth hanging open. She had no eyes, just two black pits in her face. She eventually stood next to my bed and looked down at me with her disturbing face. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but no sound was coming out. The woman then let out a terrifying scream. Then, she was gone, and the room fell silent again. It was only then that I was able to move my fingers, and then the rest of my limbs. I sat up with tears running down my face. I stayed on my bed for the rest of that night, staring up at my ceiling. It wasn't possible for me to go back to sleep after seeing that shit. The next day I was exhausted. I think all the stress that was going on caused me to experience a nasty cocktail of night terrors, sleep paralysis, and hallucinations. I won the psychological jackpot apparently. Lucky me. But the sight of that deranged woman and her hollow socket staring down at me will haunt me, probably for the rest of my life. Thank you for watching. If you have a story that you would like to share on this channel, please send it to my email, unit522stories@outlook.com. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button when notifications turned on. You can further support my channel by visiting the merch store. A link for that is in the description. You'll be hearing from me soon. Until next time, I'm your Uncle Unit. And as always, never forget. There's always